Since its production in 1957, the Harley-Davidson Sportster has been one of the world's most popular motorcycles. Even today, many view the Sportster family as the embodiment of the Harley-Davidson legacy. The Softail family combines the simplicity of a Sportster with modern creature comforts in the Milwaukee-Eight big twin engine. Today we'll discuss these two motorcycles side by side.
Welcome to another episode. I'm here once again with Damian from Los Angeles Harley-Davidson, and today's topic is Sportster or Softail. For today's video, we thought that would be a good comparison to do the Iron 1200 and the Softail Standard. They both kind of have the same attitude as far as the stance of the bike and the handlebars.
Yep.
So I thought that would be a really good comparison as a baseline for this video. So I know a lot of you, like when I first got my first motorcycle, I was looking into Sportsters, and at the time it was between a Sportster and a Dyna. And since I was like just barely getting into motorcycles, I felt like the Sportster was a better beginner's bike. It just felt a lot lighter and easier to handle and maneuver. What are your thoughts on that?
I think the Sportsters, I personally actually started on a Sportster, the 1248, which has the same motor as the Iron 1200,
right.
The Evolution 1200. And I'd have to say I'm honestly really glad I started on a Sportster because I did drop it a couple times, and it probably helped the situation out that I didn't have any extra power added into the equation. The Softail Standard is Harley's blank canvas. It literally is the street bob, but in black and chrome instead of black on black or colored in black. It only comes in one color option, which is vivid black. And it comes with Harley's latest motor, the Milwaukee-Eight, and the 107 cubic inch size, which is 1748 cc's. And you have 6 speeds instead of 5 speeds on the 1200, which is a lot more comfortable for freeway riding.
You make some good points there. When I first started on the Sportster, I didn't know like really what type of riding I was going to be doing. At first when I got it, I was like, I was going to be riding this on the weekends. I didn't plan on commuting on it. And then, but
you start riding with all your friends.
Exactly.
They have bigger bikes.
They have bigger bikes.
They're outrunning you.
Exactly, but I feel like there's still a lot of power to it. It has a lot of that torque, so it's got a lot of that passing power. And I ended up commuting on it like every single day. So I ended up putting like 20,000 miles on my 48. And that was highway riding, LA traffic, so it's definitely a capable bike.
Oh, very capable.
There are times where I did wish I did have that 6th gear.
Yep.
But it wasn't like I was struggling, but I felt like for everyday commuting, I wanted something a little more comfortable as far as suspension went and a little bit more power to get into those higher speeds. Because I was always cruising like 70 miles per hour, 75, which is
pretty
cool.
comfortable cruising.
It's comfortable,
for
that. Sportster can handle that all day.
Once you get up above like 80 and you're trying to really cruise, then you're in 5th gear, it's just
Right.
It tops out a lot quicker than the 6 speeds would. And especially with the Milwaukee-Eight, because the Milwaukee-Eight is smooth, powerful, and torquey. And then you have the Evolution motor, which is very smooth. Harley's used it for 20 years. It's not smooth. It's actually the classic Harley-Davidson rumble.
Right. So there's more like vibration to it.
Yeah.
I feel like people who might want to get into a Sportster appreciate that nostalgic feel of a Harley, where it rumbles a little bit more, feels more mechanical.
Just bare bones, just motor and frame and ready to go.
Right.
Motor frame style.
As far as customization, a lot of people like when they get Harleys, they like to go full custom on them, and I feel like both these frames are highly customizable.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
They actually made the Softail Standard, and they call it the blank canvas because it's ready to. You can do anything in this bike. You get a chrome T-bar and some slip-ons, and you just brought back black and chrome, and it's a badass bike. You could literally go any route with the Softail Standard. Whatever your mind could think of, you could do this bike. And then you're building it around the latest motor that Harley put out, the 107. And if you haven't ridden a Milwaukee-Eight yet, you're really missing out. It's so smooth, and the throttle response is ridiculous.
So it's still smooth, and I ride a Lowrider S Softail, and although it's still smooth, it does still have a little Harley shake to it.
Oh yeah.
So it didn't completely engineer that out.
No, what they did is, it's still very like Harley rumble. You get that they counterbalance the motor though. So instead of like the older Harleys where you got your handlebars like, and then when you ride for 3 hours you can't feel your hands anymore, they are a lot smoother bike.
Okay, how about suspension? Because I know going to a Softail when I test rode Softails after riding a Sportster for so long, it felt like they're like way smoother. And
oh yeah.
Can you explain that?
With the Sportsters, I know from experience, if you ride the Sportster like 250 miles in a day, it kind of hurts your back.
That's right.
Smaller frame, and then you can see I don't know if the camera can see or not, but the suspension back here, the shocks are on both sides, so you have 2 different shocks in the rear, and they work pretty well. The Sportster is a rougher ride, though because of that. The reason the Softails are smoother is it's a monoshock, which is just one shock that's right under the seat. You can't even see it until you take the seat off. And on all of the Milwaukee-Eight Softails, it is fully adjustable. You either have a dial that you just twist that's on the outside right near the seat, or you have to take the seat off and there's a little tool and you just twist it and it can stiffen or soften the suspension. The Street Bob and the Standard are the lightest bike that has the Milwaukee-Eight motor in it, so it's only 50 pounds heavier, 60 pounds heavier than the Sportsters are.
That's right. That's
so
right.
It's the lightest bike that's not a Sportster, basically.
Right.
It's very comparable to each other.
You would think that since the Sportster is lighter that it handles better, but once I got on the Softail, even though it's a little heavier, it still felt more nimble and easier to handle for some reason. I guess it's because it's more balanced.
Yeah, more balanced. If you look at the Sportster, it's a lot more top heavy and thinner.
Right.
So when you're like doing your leaning, it's a lot quicker to start using gravity's pulling it down a lot quicker because of how top heavy the Sportsters are. With the Standard, it's a little bit wider, and that just gives you a better center of gravity basically, and that's why it feels like so much easier to handle.
It does feel easier to handle. I think you can still probably get a Softail as a beginner's bike.
A lot of people do.
They do, right?
It's all personal. Like if you don't trust yourself,
yeah,
and start on the Sportster.
It's a great learning bike because
yeah.
you can give this a lot of gas on the Sportster. It's just not going to fly off under you.
Absolutely.
So
the Milwaukee-Eight, the 107 has, I think it's 114 foot-pounds of torque. It may be a little less on the 107 Softails, but still it's a lot of torque for a beginner to deal with. Like if you hit the throttle, then in third gear you're gonna it's gonna immediately start flying.
Exactly.
With the Sportster, if you give it a lot of gas, then you're not really gonna. It has a lot of get up and go.
Right. You can move.
Let's put it this way: you're gonna get in trouble on both of them. Just ride safely.
I guess one of the deal breakers for me when I traded my Sportster in for a Softail was
Comfort.
Comfort, everyday riding, like you said, on the Sportster. I even changed my handlebars a few times, and I would notice still I'd have to get pain in my lower back or my upper back after riding for like an hour, 2 hours, which wasn't horrible, but when you're riding every day or you're riding a lot, you want something that's going to be comfortable.
It's just when you hit the bumps on the Sportster, like say you go over a speed bump, it goes straight to your back a lot quicker than on this one, because the monoshock kind of protects your suspension. And one thing I actually didn't even point out is the front end suspension between the two. The Sportsters have a single bending valve cartridge, so it's a little bit rougher on the front end. You hit the front brake, you'll get a bigger front dip like that. On the Softail Standard, in any of the Softails that have the Milwaukee-Eight motor, you have a dual bending cartridge. It's a Showa dual bending valve, and basically what it does is you hit a speed bump or your front brake or a pothole, the first valve will take most of this impact, and then there's like a spring valve in there that reinforces it, and it just keeps your ride a lot smoother right here instead of just a lot smoother. So
I've noticed that because on my Sportster, I had all the time I'd hit something and just be jarring to my body, and the whole time I've ridden my Softail, I've put like 8,000 miles on my Softail. I haven't hit one bump yet that just sent a shock in my spine. Going back to suspension, like if you're planning on doing any type of passenger riding, you definitely want to go with the Softail.
Yeah.
My girl, she loves, riding on the Softail. And
Don't want to put her on the Sportster.
I had her on the Sportster, and long trips were hard. She didn't like riding as much because it was just way more uncomfortable for her. And so definitely you get a Softail, you put a nice seat on there, you can ride all day with a passenger. It's not gonna have any problem on there.
If you think about like how your back feels when you hit the pothole on your Sportster while you're just riding, think about the extra weight on the back and how quick the rear suspension is going to be to go bam.
So another difference between these two motorcycles is the instrument cluster. With the Iron 1200, we have a more traditional, just not really much digital things going on here, just a traditional circle, miles per hour, and a few things for your fuel and overall mileage.
Yeah, gears, RPMs, trip beats. The basics.
The basics. So if you appreciate like that, that classic look, you're definitely going to get that on like Iron 1200 or any of the Sportster series. So what's different about the Softails?
The Softail is the only difference really is when I turn this on, it's right here in the riser actually is where the speedometer is. And it's like just a little screen like this big. It has your miles, your gas gauge, trip A, and you can cycle through up here, trip B, reserve fuel, so it'll say R, and then however many miles you have till empty with the gas you have in your tank. This says 93 miles till empty. Cycle through, you got your clock, so it'll actually tell you what time it is, and then your RPMs and gears. Basically there's no physical anything, it's all digital right here, and then right below the digital gauge you have your neutral and your check engine, gas lights, oil lights, and ABS, stuff like that. One small difference as well would be the Softail Standard has the Daymaker LED headlight. And then,
it does?
Yep, you see right here.
Oh, nice. So that's the Daymaker.
Yep,
very cool.
Brights. And then the Iron 12 will just have the halogen.
So, let's see. Are they on right there?
Yeah, you can see the headlights on, and there's the brights.
Right there.
A few different points for like someone that's looking to get a new motorcycle. If you're a beginner, the Sportster family is a great one to start on. Start looking at. There's the Iron 83, Iron 1200. The 1200 is a good one to go with if you're going to keep the bike for a little bit. Honestly, the Sportsters are one of the most popular things we sell out here. We can't keep 883s or 1200s in stock very long because everyone loves the style, the classic Harley look out here. So if you're going for something classic with the Harley rumble and the vibration, you want to be able to lane split, get a really good gas mileage, be in and out of traffic, then the Sportsters are great. If you want to go with something that has a lot of Harley's latest technology and the latest motor, the Milwaukee-Eight, something smoother, that's going to be a lot more comfortable for riding. If you're going to do some like longer highway rides, 250 miles in a day, get the motor that's bigger so you can keep up with everybody. You got a lot of passing power on the Milwaukee-Eight. The suspension is going to keep you comfortable. There's just a lot of, it all comes down to the personal preference of everybody,
Exactly.
Like what kind of, that's why I ask everybody, I ask every single person I sell bike to, what kind of riding are you going to do? How many miles are you going to put on it in a year? How experienced are you? Those are really important things to consider when you're looking at two different bikes.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it does come down to personal preference because, you can tour on any of these bikes if you wanted to. You can take this all the way to Zion, Utah, whatever. Wherever you want to go, you can take either of these bikes too.
I met a guy actually, right when I first got out here, after March. I got here mid-March, and that is when Daytona Bike Week is happening back in Florida.
Right.
So I drove here from Florida, and then 2 weeks later, a bunch of biker guys pulled in. I could tell that they were doing some sort of touring, and I was like, "Oh, where'd you come from?" And he was on a 96 Dyna or something, which is basically a bigger Sportster suspension-wise and vibration-wise. He said he rode from Daytona, and I was like, whoa.
People do it.
Yeah,
and
people,
sometimes
that's riding.
Yeah, that's riding. And people ride choppers when there's basically no seat, just like a pan underneath. But it's your personal preference, For me, I was commuting every day, so I just wanted something more comfortable, and I ride with my girl a lot, so I wanted something for her.
Absolutely.
And the Softail seemed like the perfect everyday light touring. If you wanted to, you could make it a light touring, you know, weekend trip bike. If you know you're a Sportster fan, get a Sportster. I know there's a bunch of diehard Sportster fans that are always going to love the Sportsters because to them it's the classic Harley-Davidson.
I do miss my 48.
Right, I miss my 48 too. But I can only afford one bike, so I had to make the decision that was, you know, more practical for the type of riding I was doing. Now, if you're just doing weekend riding, you know, going out with buddies every now and then maybe the Sportster is a perfect bike.
You don't hit the freeway that often. It's just bar hopper or something, or just riding with your buddies around town or looking cool, then Sportsters are perfect.
Yeah, I agree. Like when I first got into Sportster, they didn't have the Softail Standard, and price was a thing for me. So my range was, you know, around $11,000, $12,000, and that's where the Sportster 48 fell into, and that's what kind of drove me into making that choice. Had this been available, you know, Softail Standard at that time for that same type of price range, I think I would have went for this. I would always go ABS, by the way, guys.
Yeah, it's
always at ABS.
A lot of people say it's saving lives.
So
I can definitely tell the difference when I'm riding.
As far as the frame goes and the size of the bike, the Sportster is a lighter motorcycle, but as far as like the seat height goes, it's like I think 0.1.
And maybe an inch.
0.1 inch difference between the seat height. So, you know, on either motorcycle, I'm like 5'9". How tall are you, Damian?
5'9" or 10.
5'9" or 10, depends how he does his hair. But, you know, on either motorcycle, your feet are planted. It's easy to handle.
Yeah.
You know, so men, women, short guys, you know, short girls, whoever can ride this motorcycle. Are these both mid?
Yeah, both are mid controls. Only difference is the 5-speed and 6-speed.
Right, so yeah, they're both mid controls. So like I said, same attitude, same type of stance with these mini apes. So it's almost the same type of motorcycle, but one's a little smaller.
The transmission is a little bit different though.
Yeah.
So on all the Milwaukee-Eight bikes, it's a hydraulic slipper clutch, and it just kind of, the old Harleys, you'd get kind of stuck. You'd have to slam down in the first gear, and then you get a loud metal plank, and then you get in between gears. On the Milwaukee-Eight bikes, it's just
smooth.
Dink, dink, dink.
But it still clunks.
Yeah, it still has that sound.
Right.
Looking for it's just instead of having to force it or anything, it just wants to go. It's just
right.
And then you get that nice bink, bink. So it still has the Harley sound while you're shifting. It's just a lot easier to shift it, basically. On the Sportster, it's the newer ones are a little better, but still sometimes you'll get that little stuck and hard to find neutral stuff like that.
So we kind of went over the differences between the Sportster and Softail, and we concluded that, you know, it's basically going to be based on personal preference on what you're going for, you know, and the type of riding that you're doing. So if you're more performance inclined, then definitely go for the Softail. If you're someone that appreciates that nostalgia, or you're a beginner and you want to get into the Harley-Davidson family, then Sportster is a great place to start.
Absolutely.
Right? And then with Freedom Promise, you know, you can ride it for a year, and then if you decide that you want to upgrade, you can always do that, which is great. Thank you for joining us on another episode, and thank you to Damian for going over all the technical aspects and, you know, giving us a good comparison between the Softail and the Sportster. I definitely learned a lot about my Softail today, about features I didn't even know about that I had, so it makes me even happier to have a Softail. I've learned so much more. If there's anything that we didn't cover, let us know in the comments below, and we'll try to answer those.
But yeah, free demo rides on any of the bikes as long as you got an M1 and you feel like you can handle whatever we're about to take a ride on. So I really want people to come down and ride the Milwaukee-Eight if you haven't, and also the Live Wire, because that's just an experience in itself. And if you wanted to take the Sportster out, we could do that too.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to really get a feel for either motorcycle. You know, if you haven't ridden a Sportster or a Softail, come test ride it. Guys, thank you for joining us again. Until next time, you guys ride safe and have a good one. Peace.